I saw the fire tear across the night sky, the way a lightning bolt drags itself across a wounded cloud slow. Molten, refusing to die. It happened just past midnight. When the desert air cools enough that the sand stops shimmering, and the old metal of my garage stops ticking like a dying clock. I'd been elbows deep in the open hood of a century-old pickup, scavenged from a rancher who swore it only needed a miracle or two. My dog-eared radio was whispering, static and half-songs from stations too far away to be real. That's when the sky split. A streak of white-blue fire ripped across the darkness, painting my entire scrapyard, the broken car frames, the rust-eaten gas signs, the towers of old engine blocks in a ghostly glow. It wasn't like any meteor I'd ever seen. Too slow, too controlled. It banked, like it was fighting its own fall, and then it dropped behind the far dune. A beat. Then the ground shook hard enough that every tool on my rack rattled like bones in a jar. Music, deep percussion, distant impact tremor. Anyone else in this part of the desert, if there had been anyone, might have locked their doors and pretended they saw nothing. But curiosity is the only faithful companion a lonely man has. And I wasn't about to let the most interesting thing in 10 years burn itself quietly into the sand. I grabbed my flashlight, my old desert coat, and a crowbar, because old habits of survival die slow out here, and went to find whatever the hell had just rewritten the night sky. By the time I reached the dune ridge, I could smell ozone, sharp, metallic, like lightning biting into steel. Sand poured down the slope as I climbed, boots sinking deep. When I reached the top, I froze. A shallow crater smoldered below, glowing faintly. At its center, half buried and steaming, was no rock. It was a ship, sleek, symmetrical, dark as obsidian glass, about the size of a delivery van. Its surface shimmered with colors I couldn't name, like oil slick and starlight mixed together. Thin fractures glowed, molten red along its hull. Something hissed, something inside, and then a seam in the ship peeled open like a wound splitting. I took an involuntary step back, heart hammering. For a moment, all I could hear was my breath. Then she fell out. A woman, no. A being shaped like a woman, collapsed into the sand. Her body glowed faintly, as if lit from within by a dying ember. Skin tinted a pale, luminescent violet. Hair metallic silver, moving like strands of liquid wire. Long ribbons of color pulsed beneath her skin, as though veins carried light instead of blood. Her eyes fluttered open. Not human eyes, not even close. They were faceted, crystalline, like the surface of a gem, shifting through blues and purples with every breath she struggled to take. She saw me, and whispered something that vibrated through the air. More than it entered it, 3 syllables that felt like they brushed the edge of my thoughts. Asterisk Cal Tira. Then she collapsed entirely. A wave of panic surged through me, primal, instinctive, the kind that tells you to run. Instead, I jumped down the slope and ran to her. Why? A dozen reasons, none logical. Loneliness, fear, awe, the raw human instinct to help something that looks like it's dying in your arms, even if it isn't human. Her skin was hot to the touch, burning, her breathing shallow. She weighed less than I expected, like gravity barely applied to her. Her pulse flickered like an electrical current. Okay, I muttered, forcing my voice steady. You're alive, mostly. And I guess I'm responsible for you now. Great. I lifted her into my arms and staggered back toward my garage, her glowing hair illuminating the path ahead like a broken constellation. Behind me, the ship gave a soft sound like something powering down for good. My garage sat alone at the edge of an old highway no one used anymore. A metal hangar built by my grandfather, filled with decades of engines, car parts, welding gear, and rust more ancient than some small countries. Inside, it smelled of warm oil desert dust, and a loneliness you stop noticing after the third year. I kicked the door open with my heel and laid her on the old service bed, canvas and steel. Patched more times than it should have been. She twitched. Light rippled across her skin. Her breathing hitched, then steadied into a fragile rhythm. I exhaled for what felt like the first time since seeing the sky tearing open, up close. She was, God help me, beautiful in a way no human body could imitate. Symmetry like the universe designed her with intention. Colors shifting beneath her skin like constellations in motion. Hair that floated as though underwater, even in still air. Her clothes, if you could call them, that were a thin, flexible material embedded with geometric lights that flickered erratically. Probably damaged. I had no idea what to do. But doing nothing wasn't an option, so I did the only thing I knew. I checked her injuries like she was an unfamiliar kind of passenger caught in a highway wreck. Burns, shallow lacerations, temperature fluctuating dangerously. Okay, I whispered. Just don't die on my workbench. It's haunted enough already. Music, soft ambient tremor. Heartbeat like thrum. I reached for the canteen of water before I touched her lips. Her eyes snapped open, brilliant, shimmering. Disorienting. She grabbed my wrist. I froze. A surge of cold flashed through my bones, like static lightning crawling under my skin. She spoke rapid, sharp, melodic syllables that felt like they had more dimensions than sound should have. I don't understand you, I whispered. I'm not here to hurt you. Her grip tightened. Then she did something that nearly made me rip my arm free. She leaned forward and smelled me. Not like an animal, more like a scientist inspecting a strange sample. Her crystalline eyes narrowed. She whispered one word. Broken but somehow decipherable. Human. I exhaled, shaky. Yes, I said. Human. Her grip loosened. Her head fell back. She fainted again. It was a start. For the next several hours, I cleaned her wounds, replaced her damaged clothing, suit, armor, biotech, and tried to make her comfortable. Her suit occasionally buzzed and projected faint holograms, maps, warnings, strange glyphs I couldn't read. NANOBO TES- or whatever the alien equivalent was crawled, like faint silver powder over her burns. Knitting tissue together, whoever she was. Her species didn't play around with medical tech. She woke near sunrise. The first thing she did was sit up so fast she nearly collapsed again. The second thing she did was scan the room with quick, sharp movements like a soldier or some kind of field scientist. Where? Her voice crackled with distortion. Is my vessel? Your ship? I pointed vaguely toward the dunes. It's smashed up out there. Didn't think you'd want to lie in a crater all night. She blinked at me. Slow, analytical. I am alive because of you. I shrugged. Seemed like the moral thing to do. Morality, she repeated, tasting the word like it was an unfamiliar spice. You risked yourself for a stranger. That's how humans work. She looked unconvinced. Or maybe she wasn't sure I wasn't the strange one. Your name is, she attempted. Cole, I said. And you? She hesitated. Then, Veylana, scientist, expeditionary class 3. My presence here was not intended. Her voice faltered. Pain flickered behind her gem-like eyes. I didn't press. We were two strangers in a desert garage, surrounded by engine grease and dust motes floating in the early sunlight. There was time. Maybe. Over the next 2 days, Veylana recovered in fits and starts. Strong 1 minute, weak the next. Her biology was complicated. Too many luminous pathways beneath her skin. Blood that shimmered. A pulse that flickered like bioluminescent current. Her movements were precise, efficient, but unsteady. Her breathing deepened when she smelled oil or metal, as though mechanical sense intrigued her, but the mistrust lingered. Whenever I approached too quickly, she tensed. Whenever I asked something direct, she answered with angles instead of truth. Still. Small things chipped away at the distance, like when she watched me repair an engine, fascinated by the slow, almost ritualistic human way of fixing things. You rebuild with your hands, she said in wonder. Piece by piece. Not with fabricators or matter reshapers. Old-fashioned, I said. No. She shook her head, crystalline eyes brightening. Intimate. Or when she reached out hesitant but curious to touch an old carburetor, fingers hovering millimeters above it without making contact. My people would not understand this, she whispered. To care for old, broken things. Guess I'm strange even by alien standards. Strange, she murmured, but not unpleasant. That was the closest thing to a compliment I'd had in years. On the third night, a storm brewed on the horizon, black clouds rolling like a living thing, lightning flickering like veins. Desert storms were vicious. They could strip paint off a house or tear a billboard in half. Music, low rumbling drums. Inside the garage, Veylana stood under the single hanging light, staring at a hologram flickering from her wrist device. Maps of Earth, atmospheric readings. Bio-signatures. She didn't hear me come in. What are you scanning? I asked quietly. She flinched. The hologram vanished. Nothing that concerns you. That didn't look like nothing. Silence pulsed between us. Finally, she spoke, voice low, brittle. My world is dying. Our atmosphere thinning. Our seas poisoned by centuries of industrial expansion. She swallowed hard. We have searched many worlds. Few are compatible. Fewer still. Unclaimed. And Earth? Her eyes closed. Earth is perfect. A cold weight sank into my gut. So you were scouting for a new home. She nodded. Your world is beautiful, abundant, ideal for colonization. The word tasted like poison. Colonization, I repeated. Meaning my species gets what exactly? Moved out? Moved over? She didn't answer, because the first blast hit the garage like a giant slamming its fist into the walls. Tools clattered. The lights flickered. Sand howled against the metal like a furious sea. Veylana steadied herself on the workbench, breathing fast, overwhelmed by the sensory assault. For someone from another world. She handled cosmic phenomena just fine, but a desert storm? Terrifying. A beam groaned above us. Then snapped. I lunged. Caught her just as it crashed down. Metal screamed. Sparks flew, and wind howled through the widening gap in the wall. She trembled in my arms, not from fear, but from something deeper. A vulnerability she didn't want to show. I am not accustomed to such unpredictability, she admitted, voice shaking. Welcome to Earth, I said. We specialize in unpredictable. Lightning cracked nearby, turning the sand white for an instant. A second being splintered. I grabbed her wrist. We need to get to the bunker. Now. She didn't argue this time. We ran through the storm sand, stinging our skin. Wind ripping at our clothes, until we reached the small underground bunker, built into the back of the garage. I slammed the hatch shut. The storm outside roared like a living monster. Inside. Everything was still. Just our breathing. Just the faint glow from her veins, painting the bunker walls in soft lavender light. Hours passed. Storms in the desert can last a long time. But this one felt personal, relentless, animalistic. We sat close because there was nowhere else to sit in the cramped bunker. At first, the closeness made her stiff and guarded. But slowly, she relaxed. Your world is loud, she whispered. Yours isn't. My world is quiet. Too quiet now. Our cities are emptying. Our skies are gray. If one listens closely, one can hear the planet dying. I looked at her. For the first time. She didn't avoid my eyes. Is that why you came alone? I asked. She hesitated. Yes, I argued for peaceful observation. But my people. Desperation makes them ruthless. They will not wait long before following. A knot tightened in my throat. So what was your mission, exactly? To determine if humanity posed a threat, and? She looked at me with an expression I couldn't read. Not exactly sorrow. Not exactly wonder. You confuse me, Cole. You risked yourself to rescue an unknown. You show kindness for no strategic purpose. You cherish things, people, even broken machines. Most of us aren't saints, I said softly. But we're not monsters either. She studied me. Really studied me. As if recalibrating her entire understanding of humans. Based on my existence alone. The bunker shook again. She flinched, instinctively gripping my sleeve. You're safe, I said. I promise. She swallowed, nodding, but didn't release me. At some point, exhaustion took over. She leaned lightly against my shoulder, tentative at first, then fully. Her glowing hair brushed my jaw. Her breathing cinched with mine. Cole, she whispered, voice trembling with some unspoken emotion. You're kind, miss. It is dangerous, to you. To my people, she said. Because if they knew what I know now, they would fear that I am compromised. Are you? She looked at me. Then, softly, yes. Something warm bloomed in my chest. Dangerous, foolish, but unstoppable. Veylana, I murmured. I won't let anything happen to you. Her crystalline eyes shimmered like stars seen through tears. Why? She whispered. Because you're not alone anymore. Her breath caught. Something fragile and beautiful formed between us. Like a bridge built out of starlight and chance. She leaned her forehead to mine. Music, soft. Rising strings. No kissed out, just closeness. Earned. Trembling. Real. The storm passed by dawn. When we climbed out, the garage was half destroyed. Sand buried my tools. Metal twisted in strange shapes. Veylana stepped into the sunlight, skin glowing brighter. Her wrist device beeped a harsh, urgent tone. She looked at it, expression darkening. What's wrong? I asked. They found me. Her voice cracked. My people. A retrieval vessel is approaching. They will extract me, and then they will complete the mission. My stomach dropped, meaning Earth gets taken. She nodded. Unless, she said softly, I tell them this world is unsuitable. Too hostile. Too barren. Too unpredictable. Too dangerous. Would they believe you? No, not without proof. Her eyes met mine. Unless I leave with them. A chill ran through me. You'd go back. To protect Earth? To protect you, she whispered. Silence stretched. Then I asked the question that hurt just to say, so this is goodbye. Her breath shook. No, she said. Not if you come with me. I froze. What? My people. They value partnerships, bonds. If I present you as a chosen companion, they will not question my assessment of your world. A companion, I echoed. Her voice softened to a trembling whisper. In my culture, that word means more than its translation. It means the one whose existence shapes your own. Emotion slammed into me. Hard. Veylana. If I go, I leave Earth forever. Yes, and if I stay, I lose you. Her eyes shimmered with unshed light. Yes. The storm had ripped half my life apart, but she had rebuilt. Something inside me, something I didn't realize, was broken until she touched it. I took a step toward her. Then, I'm going with you. Tears actual. Tears slipped down her luminous cheeks. She reached for my hand with trembling fingers. Cole, are you certain? I squeezed her hand gently. You said your world is quiet, I whispered. Maybe it needs someone loud. A fragile laugh escaped her. Then she pulled me close, forehead to forehead again. This time, the contact lingered. Deepened. Earned. Chosen. Her emergency beacon lit the sky. An hour later, blue-white fire. Spiraling upward, a shadow fell over the desert as her retrieval craft descended, sleek, silver, silent. A door irised open. Warm air washing out. Veylana stepped inside. Then she held out her hand to me. I looked back at my garage, my life, my dust, my rusted memories. And then I took her hand. The door closed. The desert vanished. Earth fell away beneath us. I felt weightless, terrified, exhilarated. Veylana's fingers intertwined with mine, delicate but sure. She leaned her head on my shoulder. "Welcome," she whispered, "to the rest of our unknown." Music, swelling, hopeful strings. The stars opened before us, vast, endless, waiting. In the days that followed, as her ship carried us toward a world I had never known but already belonged to, Veylana taught me her language, her traditions, her fears, and I taught her mine. Hand by hand, heartbeat by heartbeat. Two broken worlds, two lonely souls, and a future neither of us had been searching for, but somehow found. Anyway, on the first night aboard, she curled against me under a starlight dome and whispered, "You changed my mission." I kissed her forehead light. "Reverend, you changed my life." Her eyes shimmered. And together, we watched the dying light of Earth fade into the horizon, yet somehow, impossibly, I felt more whole than I ever had. Because love isn't a place. It's a direction, trajectory, a new orbit, and I had finally found mine. Asterisk, asterisk, and in the soft glow of alien dawn, I understood. Home is not where you are born, but where someone finally sees you. Asterisk, asterisk.